careers, he has made it a specialty.
And now we get the last pick support. Sorry, not last pick support, because Malzahar already picked the last pick AD carry.
Right.
Ashe was not banned. Again, showing from these teams they don't ban that high. Oh, that's a special.
Baby! Speaking of special picks.
All right, Hansama.
Oh, man. He's bringing the heat this game. We got the Draven matchup, and I want to see what Splyce round this out with, because that has to have thrown them for a loop.
Now, I told Mickey to hover the Sion because I want to see support Sion again, but Sion top is actually legit.
Oh, it's locked!
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
Sion top against Jayce is actually legit.
There we go. Okay, so Sion's locked in. That's going to be up against the Jayce, and now we have had some serious surprises in this pick ban. Oh, I already feel like this is going to be a great series.
I mean, I just like the special picks here. got banned, not AD carry got banned, because Jhin was already locked in by Splyce, so it's top lane got banned. Then you have Draven, the special from Hansama. He's one of these like unique former one-trick Dravens that we have seen in Europe.
We've had a couple of those throughout the history of the US.
Yeah, funny enough, we've actually had quite a few. But
they don't usually bring it out in on the big stage, not too often.
Well, when we do see it, they tend to actually go off on it. Like, think back to Freeze when he used to play the Draven. Sion top, though, I actually think it's a fine matchup against Jayce. Typically, Jayce is good against carries. He's not that great against a lot of the tanks, because it is hard for him to kind of like kill anyone up in top lane. You really want to snowball the Jayce. And then the tank tends to just have a bigger impact in a team fight. So as long as you don't like allow the Jayce to kill the tank up in the top lane and take over the tower, you can actually keep him down.
It's definitely true. We'll have to keep an eye on all those matchups. Things definitely got pretty interesting as the coaches shake hands to walk off the stage. We're getting ready for game number 1. Oh, baby. And there we go. All right. We're getting ready to load up. It looks like a moment of silence to start the day off.
It's always
just getting ready to go.
Yeah, we can always just stop talking, Pyro.
That's okay. Don't forget to keep tweeting. You guys know where to go. At LL Esports, of course. Hashtag MSF winner, hashtag SPY win. Stakes definitely raised. Very important. Now the champions, they're locked in. The players, they're loading onto the Rift. It's time to get into game 1 between Splyce and Misfits.
He wants an amazing Power of Evil. Oh, that's the big one. One more. He double kill. He is relentless. Trashy had already taken out Nuke Duck. It's a double kill to the Rengar of all people.
We got it.
Boom. All right, we're already in the line of scrimmage here. Misfits bringing some new stuff.
And come on,
to the
game one, Pyra, and we get this kind of pick and ban phase.
Oh yeah.
Because there's a lot of the standard top tier picks still open.
But there's always something to be said for pocket picks.
There is, and I like that a lot. And I think very often, if you're very comfortable on a certain pocket pick, even if that champion is technically slightly weaker than other champions, if you can do something the other team does not expect, suddenly you get a lot of value from like these surprise picks. Because let's be honest, Maokai is a better top laner than Sion. But if Wunder feels 100% comfortable in this matchup against the Jayce, he might know something Alphari does not, and that gives an advantage over the Splyce.
Yeah, it also combos up nice and well. It may not be in the bottom lane, but the reason that works so well with the decimating smash into the flourish, they can get a serious CC train going. And on the other side, I mean, when do you expect the Draven? Yes, it's Hansama's favorite, but we haven't seen this pick in any region in this year.
No, and I want to see if it's Ghostblade Rush Draven, because before lethality changes, a lot of like Dravens would go just like stack as much AD as possible. But I actually think now you can go for a lot of armor pen, and then you can really deal some insane damage in the mid game.
Yes, you can. There'll be a lot of axes down in bot. Kobbe and Mikyx are going to have to watch themselves as we start things off. It's not the only interesting lane, of course. That top, as you mentioned, already getting pushed in. Alphari having his way, but it's very early on. And the League of Thunderlords is back, baby.
Oh, man. We tried, we nerfed it. We then nerfed other keystones as well.
That was the issue.
And then obviously Thunderlords just kind of comes back into the meta. We removed some of the jungle options. Courage of the Colossus being nerfed a lot as well. Really punching IgNar.
Oh, he's real low. Oh, that's the summoner heal into first blood. Kobbe with the final shot. Flashes for the kill.
Almost too easy, but great synergy from Splyce's bot lane. Kobbe knew he could flash in and actually pick up the kill, and once he's flashed and the auto is in the air, there's nothing IgNar can do. IgNar will have to then pre-flash before Kobbe could even get into auto tag range. IgNar going down very, very early, and this is obviously not a good start for Misfits bottom lane here. Thank you very much for that great caller comment here.
Yeah,
it's
absolutely.
a bad thing they die, Pyro.
It is a bad thing they die. I know that much at the very least. Let's see it one more time, though.
All right. So we've all been here when we play against Jhin. We get chunked down. We don't really notice the crit, and then he just flashes for it.
Sweet 400 gold.
And the problem there is, you know, as a support, I just feel like there's so little counterplay once you've gotten caught. Because if you flash early, Jhin would never flash for you. And then he just saved flash and you flashed. That's it.
Well, I mean, there's a solution. Don't get caught.
Don't get caught. That's the solution, obviously. But once you got caught,
you got got.
If you don't flash, well, he's going to do exactly what he just did right there. And if you try and flash his flash, it's often too late.
Well, we'll see what happens in mid. Trashy making a move into PowerOfEvil, and Sencux is there. Throws the Foss Bomb. Command attack. Deters Trashy. KaKAO was hanging around. But IgNar is on a roam up.
Yeah,
he's sure
level
got spotted
2
by that
now.
ward. He's only level 2.
Yeah, and he also got spotted by the ward, just walking around the corner. And that really is just a small little extra praise for Kobbe. Simple thing for a professional player, but a mistake I do see in like solo queue is people flash before they're actually ready to auto. You know, they auto and then they flash and hope the next auto comes instantly, but obviously it doesn't.
Especially on Jhin.
Yeah, especially on Jhin. So Kobbe was obviously waiting, so he knew exactly when he had this next auto ready, and then he flash instant shoots him and takes him down. But really interesting still with Draven. I want to see Ansama here. It's going to be Ghostblade, Rush, is what I'm expecting. And I just want to see his damage in the mid game. Have you tried MFA to carry with lethality?
It does a lot of damage.
Yeah, once you get Ghostblade and you double up a minion and hits the guy behind, 50% HP is gone. I want to see the Draven damage once we get to that mid game.
Well, he's going to take a little while to get there. Kobbe already pushing him back. He has the Serrated Dirk available to himself versus just the double longswords of Hans. See IgNar playing a little bit more back now, clearing some wards away. This might open up an opportunity for a gank, but we'll see where KaKAO heads. He's been mostly up top and towards the middle.
Yeah, KaKAO might just say, you know what, I'm farming for 6, get ulti, and then start really ganking. You also want 6 on Malzahar, it's like guaranteed kills bot lane. But enough about these guys on the bottom side. Sion top lane.
Right on cue.
The theory here behind this pick against Jayce is that you have wave clear as a tank. You see the Q right there from Sion, almost taking down all the minions. You even have actually tools to harass the Jayce from range, because again, your Q is fairly long range. You have E as well, which you can hit someone with and then kind of follow up the next attack. So you have ways you can trade and kind of stay even with Jayce, where a lot of other tanks are kind of just surrendering the lane completely. But you need a few levels. If you are Wunder, you can see he's maxing his decimating strike here, just to simply have more wave clear as well.
So that accounting for a little bit of his falling behind early, having to back for the teleport as he's still building up a couple of items. He's got boots now too, but they're going to match teleport for teleport. But Wunder is a little bit further behind on farm. You expect him to catch up post 6?
Or at least he won't fall much further behind. Like, his job is just to keep it even. But the thing is, when you do play against Alphari, you tend to fall behind in CS. Alphari is actually one of the best laning top laners we have in Europe. And it's very interesting because we looked at some of his numbers just like for pure CS.
Yeah.
And it's fun to see how when you face Alphari, you actually get the lowest CS at 10 as a top laner. That's the one you see in the middle on your screen. So as a top laner, on average, when you play against Alphari, you get 71 CS at 10. He gets 80. So he gets the highest of top laners, and his opponent gets the lowest. And that shows how good his laning phase is.
Not only that, I mean, this is a field full of stellar European top lanes. It has been a bit of a mixed bag depending on which group you're in, but, I mean, coming in as a new guy, Alphari is definitely making himself known right now. More back to the bottom side. IgNar low once again.
Oh, he has to be careful again. Because Kobbe has some he has some lethality now, and IgNar was actually down on like 2.5 bars.
He's keeping up in farm, though. Importantly, Hansama is anyways. He hasn't fallen too far behind Kobbe despite being forced under tower. This should be a pretty juicy opportunity for KaKAO at some point in the game, but as you said, farming till 6. He's got it now. Let's see where he goes.
Yeah, now the Lee Sin really needs to have an impact. We know Kha'Zix can gank if you have CC in lanes to set him up. Lee Sin can gank without any CC to help him. When he has ulti, when he has flash, he can just jump in, kick flash someone back. And it tends to either force a summoner or give his team a kill. And he's top lane now against the big armor stacking Sion.
Trying to shut down the Sion. He's coming in for the lane gank right now, hanging around to the side. Wunder roars, the decimating smash. He's knocked back by the hammer. Still hovering around is KaKAO, waiting for the moment. Alphari not giving anything away by pushing the wave, but Trashy's on his way up here too. We could have a jungle tussle.
Yeah, and this can actually be really bad for Misfits because they are fighting near Splyce's turret. You don't want to take too many tower shots to then get jumped. see a swap from Splyce. This is the way the pro players are keeping the lane swap alive. Is the dual lane pushes out and then they go top a little bit earlier than you normally would. Sadly for them, this lane is pushed down towards their turret, so that means they won't really get a huge tempo advantage, seeing as they have to catch the wave from the start. They're not spotted because Wunder actually cleared it out. Let's see if they can surprise the Jayce.
Oh, it's a surprise party up top, but Trashy is going to walk into that ward. So now the game is up. Alphari is going to have to back away. Sends one shock blast, but there's a horde of minions being led straight to this tower, and the rest of Splyce look to try and fast push this. Pings on the bottom side. They know it's only Hansama there right now.
Yeah.
IgNar's going to join him, but this is going to be too little too late. Splyce make the big move.
And it looked before like the wave was actually too far down towards the Splyce turret, so it would be a bit of a slope shove here, but that's where the Sion wave clear just kicks in instantly, because Wunder actually killed the wave before Kobbe and Mikyx arrived. They snuck into the brush, and then they could surprise and get the tempo advantage. So really good swap here by Splyce. Great use of a top laner who can take down waves as well, much quicker than most tanks can do. Imagine if that was a Shen sitting there. He would ask for another 15 seconds before he had actually killed the wave, and then it would have slowed down Splyce. So just really good use of the Sion here. One of the things we talk about with the comfort of some of these new picks. Obviously, we've seen a bit of Sion in LCK. Ed from an MVP, spelled ADD, funny enough, but he's called Ed, apparently. He loves to play the Sion top almost all the time.
I've seen it translate here in Europe as Sencux is looking to take down this blue buff. But, so with Misfits trading back on the bottom side, they don't quite equalize on gold because of the first tower blood and the first blood that Splyce were able to secure earlier, but they do get a Mountain Drake to go with it, so they definitely have a little bit more pushing power on objectives going forward.
Definitely so, but if Splyce can keep growing the gold lead, then we might not see Misfits really benefit from the Mountain Drake. That is obviously one of the risks of getting it, but they were too slow to match turrets very early to kind of race for first tower, so they had to obviously take the dragon. They then got the second turret of the game, so I still think the trade is okay if you're Misfits. Like, yes, you don't get the full amount of gold that Splyce got, but you got the dragon, as you mentioned.
Absolutely. Misfits, on their side, I mean, they have a fairly team-fighty composition. Whenever you've got a Lee Sin that's going to try to get people involved, and you've got an Orianna combo,
he might get caught here.
Oh no, IgNar. He's the one who catches Trashy on. KaKAO sends the easiest Q of his life straight at his face. And 1-2. How do you do?
Well, Corki is out of there.
Equalizing on kills.
Trashy invading in when he really doesn't need to invade. He's mid laner, wasn't really in a position to help. His duo lane wasn't nearby either, and this Malzahar had been missing. One of those annoying mistakes to make, where you invade in, blind. It's easy for us to see, oh, you're walking into a trap. He obviously couldn't see that, but that's where you gotta then play that game of risk versus reward. What is the reward if Trashy gets in there? Probably very, very, very small.
You have to make the right calls, unfortunately.
Exactly. But the risk is very high, and that's why he dies.
Yep. It's the first death of the game for Splyce on Trashy's side. He has not had the greatest impact in some of his early games lately, but he is on this champion that can snowball and roll ahead. Meanwhile, up top, he might get a chance to redeem himself here as Alphari's a little low. Flashing forward, sends the Void Spikes. Wunder's knocked back, flashing forward to Trashy. Sinks the claws in for a kill. And KaKAO is just a little too late to the party.
KaKAO was around, but he doesn't have ulti, so might not want to commit here specifically. Alphari ends up going down. Trashy getting some revenge after dying before. Very important for Splyce that they get some armor on this Sion here, because again, he's against Jayce, Lee Sin, and Draven. 3 champions with a ton of physical damage. And this might actually be a bit of an issue for Hansama, that is going to be this big tank stacking armor. Because Draven always tends to be just hitting whatever is right in front of him, and he tends to hit hard enough that he kills whatever is in front of him, but not an armor stacking tank when you stack armor pen only early on. So that might be a way for Wunder to really be super annoying. Black Cleaver though, that's going to benefit the rest of the team from Alphari here.
Yeah, absolutely. And on Hansama's side, you know, he does have his Ghostblade. He's keeping par with Kobbe's Jhin right now. So we'll see when he actually meets up against Wunder's Sion how hard he's going to hit.
And the adaptation really just is like, he's probably going to go Edge of Night now, and then he goes Last Whisper fairly early on into the game.
So he has the Bloodthirster early.
Yeah, so he has some armor pen against the Sion, because the other 4 members from Splyce will obviously have very low amount of armor, so that's where the lethality is going to kick in instantly. But against the Sion, not as effective. That's why you need Last Whisper.
Well, if the armor gets too high on Splyce's side, Misfits can always rely on PowerOfEvil. We've seen Orianna late game shockwaves, and he's been quite a part of the highlight reel for several years now. Hitting some real big ones, even stolen a few Barons in his time.
Yeah, but where's the smite Orianna?
Yeah, it's been a while since we saw that.
You can't just introduce that and then take it back. You gotta keep committing.
I think he tried.
This is gonna be quite a gank in mid.
There we go.
Splyce hovering to top side.
IgNar roving in, he gets captive audienced. So that's going to be stopped short. Mikyx and Kobbe were able to back out through a river. Ping's flying. Misfits trying to be careful not to overstep and overstay their welcome.
Just some good decision here when it comes to the placement on the map. Both teams kind of agreeing on a side each. Top side, that's yours if you're Splyce. Bot side, that's Misfits.
It's a gentleman's agreement.
It is definitely an agreement. That's why you saw Splyce hover towards the top side and why Misfits couldn't actually pull off the gank. Wunder into the wall.
Not quite connecting on the pain train. Alphari still not giving it up. He sends a shock blast at the back of Wunder. It's a parting shot. KaKAO is not able to connect.
Man, that was such an awkward ulti from Wunder. I'm not sure if he expected Trashy to finish the Grump earlier and kind of jump over the wall. But I'm actually pretty happy Trashy just said, screw you, I'm just going to take the Grump, because if I go for this fight, we're all going to get collapsed on by like 4 members and die. Misfits kind of forgot the agreement here.
Yep.
Bot side was theirs, and now they
gave it up.
Completely forgot about a big wave in the bottom lane and a Corki who just picks up a free turret.
It's a bit of a rookie mistake. Splyce are finding openings and punishing right now. So with that second tower, they're going to build back on the gold leads. About 1,500 in their favor, and going 15 minutes into this game, they can be pretty happy about that fact.
And I think, again, credit to Trashy on the top side right there, not engaging into that fight. Seeing as Splyce was most likely calling, no one was bot lane, and that meant 5 members from Misfits could be on top side. And then you never want to fight, because you're playing cross map, you're waiting for Corki to take a free turret in the bottom lane. So Misfits were gambling on trying to create a pick. It backfired, and you're now further down in gold.
So with that, Splyce have moved farther ahead. They pick up the Trinity Force for Sencux's Corki. With that power spike and the gold lead they have, is now the time they can bust the map open. It looks like they're trying to force another catch.
Well, first of all, they have already opened the side turrets, so they have gotten quite an advantage. Mid lane is going to be much harder against the Orianna wave clear to take down. Luckily, you can send the Corki to the side lane, and if you can then move Orianna down and force her to try and defend, you can take a mid turret. Wunder's getting ganked.
He's not got his ultimate available, run smack dab into IgNar, and even though Splyce are going to be able to take down the dragon, Wunder's going to give his life for it. They're going to have to kill him twice, but Hansama cashes in.
Let's see if Splyce can get any damage on this mid lane turret. Trashy just recalled after taking dragon because he was fairly low.
Power's still here, though.
Yeah, Splyce might have to just back away, so Misfits, they knew they couldn't really defend the dragon once it was started, and they just said, let's get the best we can on the map. And we actually see a mistake we've seen from Splyce so often this split. When they are the ones making cross-map plays, Wunder tends to be ganked, and Wunder tends to die. And this is both on him, but also on the team. Because there seems to be very little communication between where they're making a play in the map and then Wunder. And that's why he often ends up like getting ganked and either dove or just like dies to multiple people.
That was a big setup on the gank too, and it's going to open up a chance for Misfits to knock down this tower now.
Yeah.
Easy peasy. And not only that, Hansama got himself a kill. That's important for any AD carry.
Oh yeah.
But for a Draven, it's money in the bank.
Did you see how much gold he got?
A lot.
When he cashed in. Super important for him because he's just been sitting there. But you're playing Sion as well. Your ulti is fantastic when it comes to escaping potential ganks. So if Splyce right there are just aware, okay, we're getting a free dragon, that means they gave up bot side. They can only be top side then. Call that to Wunder, and then 5 seconds earlier, he just ultis out of that lane. Like, he's just out of that lane, gone. Misfits will get the turret, but they won't get the kill. So you just give them like a slightly more gold than they actually were supposed to get. And you take Wunder and you just knock him down a peck when you actually didn't need to.
And speaking of slightly more gold, Misfits have actually found themselves on the up and up. It's only 200, but you know, considering they were down by close enough to 2,000, this game has swung back in their favor for sure.
And Hansama got 726 gold from that kill.
That'll invest quite a lot towards that BF sword that he picked up, and you know, he's got the attack speed boots as well with Berserker Greaves, so you can start chasing people down. That's when you start to get the solo queue flashes. Oh god, he's coming after me. Oh god, he's coming after me.
Okay.
Splyce might be in some trouble.
He is going for the stack. Sorry, I actually just muted myself right there.
That happens.
Yeah, we have the cough button here on the side, so you guys don't have to hear us cough. And then when we talk, if you press that, you mute yourself. And I just did that for some reason. I've only done this for 3 years, Pyro. How would I know?
Yeah, I know. I don't blame you. I'll give you one more free pass.
It is also the trick, if you cast with someone you don't like, you can start muting them.
Exactly. Shockwave is not going to connect, though. PowerOfEvil was trying to get a catch out. KaKAO actually steals away this red buff up top. Misfits are starting to push in a little further, and they have map control this side of the river.
It's been a very interesting start to the game. It hasn't been like insane amounts of kills or anything, but there's been a lot of small attacks on the map against each other, and some of them can be quite difficult to kind of follow because they trade very quickly. It's like you get bot side, I get top side, then they kind of swap it around a little bit. One guy's a little bit out of position, then he gets caught and he dies, or you lose a turret. But it's so even right now. Scaling-wise, whenever you run these double AD carry setups that we see on Splyce, you always have a lot of options in late game fights. You also have a big tank in Sion who's going to stack armor. So that is definitely like a strong enough core to win late game team fights if you are Splyce. But also when you have Orianna, you have late game Draven, that suddenly gives Misfits a lot of chances to win. So I think both teams actually have really good chances of taking late game fights.
Well, we're still in the mid game, and that tower is going to be taken out. KaKAO tanks one shot. Alphari takes a second of the curtain call, and Wunder comes train wrecking in, but he doesn't find a target, and they kick him back into the team. Ults on him, and they will take him out. Hans once again with the kill, stands aside. Shockwave pulls in Wunder. Misfits trying to back away. Sencux stepping forward will not find the kill. It is a 1-for-0, and Misfits get the tower, but they might lose mid.
Wunder, he saw the hero engage. He didn't hit anyone, and then he tried to flash out instantly. Completely backfired. But despite losing the top laner, tower goes down. Pyro, we have to remember Misfits. They don't really have a big tank in the front. Yes, Lee Sin is going to build some tanky items, but you don't really fear him as a tank.
You need to get the catch off first.
Exactly. There's a lot of members here from Misfits who need to respect if they're low on HP, because they will die to like a Jhin W or Jhin ulti. And a rocket, a big rocket from Corki. And that's why Misfits have to back away if they get chunked in these fights here.
Now let's take a look at how it started again. They seem to be respecting the distance, but when the curtains opened up, they backed off, and Wunder just couldn't find a target.
He couldn't find it, and Sencux just wasn't nearby. It's a little bit uncoordinated, we have to say. And I like the response from Misfits. It's been like, it's
IgNar
4v5.
almost died there.
Yeah, now, when you play against Corki rockets, when you play against things like Jin's W, when you're this low, as a support, even as a top laner, and you're a squishy one, you just have to back away. Like, Mithy showed yesterday what happens if you don't back away. And he was also being a nice guy who would tank every skill shot for his team. You end up going 0-6, 0-7. And we don't want to see that on Misfits.
We're not quite in that territory yet. 3-2 in kills as we crest the 20-minute mark. The goal game pretty close, but Misfits, they've been pulling up and ahead and just getting the catches, getting the slightly better trades for themselves, even though objectives have gone back and forth with 3 towers apiece.
That's where you gotta look at farm. You gotta look at the extra Draven gold. That obviously counts. Because 2 kills on Hansama. He's already earned 8,500 gold in this game, and Kobbe is sitting on 7,700. So already a bit of a difference despite being even in turrets, and Kobbe actually being up in gold. This one, Pyra, what do we got?
Well, this is Splyce. Every single game, they kind of tend to be really swingy at the 20-minute mark. This time they are further down, but it's not as bad as it can be.
So this is the goal leads at 20 minutes, or goal disadvantage, or deficits at 20 minutes.
Splyce just don't seem to be a team that like plays it super even with a few game exceptions. They either snowball the game themselves at about this time, or have a pretty solid lead, or they've just lost a lot.
It swings a lot. Sencux trying to block off Misfits and join the team. KaKAO's in the pit.
Oh, we could be in for Smite fight right now. Splyce aren't sure if they want this one. It's a tense moment. He sends out the Sonic Wave. Resonating Strike. No! He can't secure it as Kobbe gets the final shot. Misfits walk away empty-handed. Splyce get themselves the Mountain Drake.
And now Splyce trying to get back towards the mid lane. Don't want to give Misfits the inside track towards that turret, but there are no other minion waves really pushing, giving any team the chance to hit a turret. Baron, 22 minutes in, that's going to be early, and it's 5 members alive as well on the side of Splyce.
That is going to clear out the vision for now. Misfits not playing too over-aggressive, but still, it seems like the game plan, as always when you've got a Draven, feed the Draven, get him up and up, and with those 2 kills they've gotten him, still sitting on 2 items right now. The Bloodthirster was second, so he went for the more traditional build path, but the armor is not huge just yet on the side of Splyce. Sion's starting to stack it.
It's just Sion, yeah.
But it's not there.
No, well, let's see. Sion is sitting on 175 at the moment.
They're still shredding through him. I mean, once IgNar has the ult on him, I mean, even that last fight, even though Mikyx had the wild growth, they still were able to take him down.
That might be one of the strategies for Misfits, because they have to take care of the big front line first. But that's always, again, the fun thing I think about the current meta is a lot of comps either has 1 tank or no tanks. And you see, like, the Misfits composition, like, a lot of these picks are very standard, except for really the Draven. Like Jayce top with Lee Sin.
And you're not going to pick a tank in that role either.
No, you're not going to pick an AD carry tank. Definitely not. So I think we see a lot of these kind of comps. They tend to be very hard to play in like late game fights because if one guy gets caught out, he dies really quickly. Or these very traditional big frontline tanks with a support who can disengage behind you are like the more standard team fighting comps. But what I like about Misfits comp is the fact that almost every member can carry. So it can be Alphari who has a sick team fight where he gets in from a flank, he gets onto Kobbe, boom, one-shot. It can be the fight where KaKAO is the hero, kicks the right guy just into the team. Hansama kites really well on Draven, hits some squishies, like a lot of ways to carry here.
They've got Mikyx and they shred through him instantly. KaKAO gets the final kill and they take down Trashy. Hansama flashing away. IgNar had already gone down, but this trade has gone well for Misfits so far. 2 for 1.
And we see why Malzahar is still considered such a good pick. Flash ulti and you guarantee a kill starting the fight. Yes, IgNar died himself, but it was enough for Misfits to get 2 kills.
That's worth, man.
They're respecting the poke again, though. I just want to recall instantly, but now the outer turrets are gone. No one can really easily take down a tower. Like, you have to win a big fight, have a lot of members alive, and then take a turret. Or you have to try and go for one of these river objectives. Oh, this is just a little bit risky by Splyce. They're kind of gambling on, like, where could Misfits be? And just get jumped.
Well, they just get 2 quick pickups, man. Splyce, they were not respecting where Misfits could be on the map for sure. The vision game has been incredibly important, but it's been split. A lot of it was in the top side. That last team fight, yeah, Alphari definitely was able to put out a lot of damage, but they still managed to get Hans picking up the kills. It's exactly what they want.
It's been 2 fights now where Wunder couldn't really set up a great Sion ulti. The first one, his flank was okay, but then Sencux wasn't there, so he couldn't really fully commit. And then this one, they got jumped, so he had to kind of use their ulti reactively and ends up coming in and forcing a flash from Hansama, which is fine, but not really getting anything else. And we want to see if Wunder can actually nail one of those late game ultis and just force himself in the face of the Draven.
It's going to be critical. I mean, they've still got the Kha'Zix, but Trashy has been a little slow to get up to speed. We haven't seen his impact minus a gank or 2. And we'll see what happens as the curtains are opened up once again. Kobbe sends a couple of shots. They go wide. The third connects onto IgNar. Fourth does not. And now they turn back around. KaKAO is looking for the kick. He didn't quite get it. Whirling Death tags Trashy and Sencux, and now does Splyce on the retreat path. Wunder is coming up from bottom lane.
We've seen this one before here. Wunder moving from the bottom side. He's going back to his lane with TP. Alphari has been spending a lot of time with the rest of the team here, trying to create catches around Baron. They're starting it now to force a teleport. They're going to force TP from Wunder. Trashy's down to 50%. This is good.
The ult. Oh, KaKAO's just going to go in and eliminate him instantly. The rest of Splyce, they're showing up here, but let's see if Misfits are able to get away. They're going to try to back out. The Pain Train connects, and Sencux claims the kill. The Baron fights on. KaKAO gets the smite down. He safeguards out. They're following through. Shockwave. Everything is going nuts. It's 2 for 2 on the fight. A double kill to Sencux. Hansama is wreaking havoc, and he's trying to stay alive, but not for long. A triple kill for the Corki. And Power is going home, or is he? IgNar turning Mikyx back. Wunder getting a little low in this one, and he is gonna be taken down. He's got no flash, he's got a smash, but he's out of there.
What a great setup by Misfits. Yes, it became a close fight, but I love that Baron call. They chunked Trashy down with a great ulti from KaKAO, and they just instantly moved to Baron. They already had the vision set up, and they knew if Kha'Zix showed up, IgNar was on the correct side of the wall. He would just ult him instantly. They would kill him. There would be no smite from Splyce. The mistakes we saw in week 1 and 2 from Misfits around Baron have been fixed completely. This is such a good setup. They know he's low. He steps forward. Boom, IgNar catches him. All planned. Yes, okay, it's a tough fight to win now. But it's still a really good setup in the start.
Yeah, that one definitely looked like it could have been tense, but Misfits executed well. KaKAO even lives through this for a minute at least until Sencux finds him around the side. And Hansama, normally when the AD carry is stuck in the pit like that, he doesn't live very long. But
yeah, you tend to focus
shields on him for a while.
But they wanted to kill KaKAO first. PowerOfEvil sadly didn't get anything on his ulti because he actually already killed the Jhin. So first world problems right there. But all in all, the progression from week 1 to week 4 now of Misfits, where they tend to risk the 50-50s so often. This one, no, 100% planned out. And KaKAO could just smite it away.
Absolutely, and he could have himself a KaKAO for sure. Misfits now able to take down Mountain Drake, number 3, second for them this game. There have been quite a lot, so that means they'll be able to shred through towers that much more quicker. With the Baron empowered minions at 28 minutes, things are looking great for this team. I really have to give a lot of credit to the combination of KaKAO and IgNar. They have had some serious synergy this game. The moment you see IgNar getting another grasp on, KaKAO is right behind him and they finish the kill off.
I agree. The synergy between them and the team is great. We've heard IgNar in one of the interviews already. His English is fantastic. Like, he can actually translate for KaKAO as well wherever it's needed. KaKAO is still trying to pick up some of the things, but his English for in-game is just fine. And that's one of the things I think it's important to highlight, Pyro, with Misfits is it's 5 good players, but it's also like a really good team around them. I had the pleasure of talking to the analyst, Nasir. Some people might know him from War Room. He's also called Empire. He's the head analyst for them. He's doing a lot of scouting, the pick and ban, all these kind of things. Then, of course, Daku is the head coach. We've seen him on the analyst desk. Might talk more about the last guy after this one.
Ooh, Alphari, he's going to get a knockaway, but Wunder's going to follow him. The smash won't be there. Acceleration gauge is going to try to finish him off, kiting away best he can, but the rockets are flying, not connecting. Alphari a little slow, still managing to dodge. Meanwhile, Misfits, they're up bot side, and they're on Splyce's towers.
Well, can they take the tower down?
Sencux
That's the
gets
question.
the kill, but, I mean, they've lost a tower for it.
They have. Misfits know, okay, we got a turret, but now it's 4v5. Let's step away. Smart call again. But the last guy with the team, I think we have to highlight because it's 3 guys kind of doing the in-game coaching. So we had Nasir, the analyst, Daku, of course, the head coach, and then Paragon, people might know from his time in North America, where he actually was coaching and playing a little bit, is the role coach, a guy who like focuses a lot on the laning phase, like the micro things in-game. And that team together seems to be doing extremely well. And the players seem to be very happy with them as well, because we see constant progression in terms of pick and ban phase, understanding the meta, and also fixing mistakes that happen in-game.
Speaking of, Alphari was a little pushed up, but you have to wonder if this wasn't maybe a little more calculated because he lived for just so damn long in Splyce, where meanwhile...
And poor Wunder also ends up missing everything here. Like, he ulted straight into the wall, then the Q obviously was sidestepped by Alphari. It's been a tough game for the Sion.
They had to spend an exhaust too.
Yeah, I mean, they get the kill, but they were expecting to get the kill instantly and then recall and actually defend the turret.
And that's the story of the game so far. Misfits really pulling ahead after what looked like a bit of a rocky early game. Splyce just not able to match the pressure. And I think it's interesting you point out the infrastructure set up on a team like Misfits, because you don't often see teams coming out of Challenger with that level of infrastructure. And this is clearly panned out for this team.
And that's exactly why I wanted to highlight it and why I think it's so important, because if you are a Misfits hater, like I don't know why you would be, but let's say you are, get used to these guys being here. They're not going anywhere. This team is more than good enough to make playoffs, so they're not going to play for relegation. Their organization has already made good investments, like the Miami Heat guys are there helping them. The owner is fantastic. And now we have the great coaching staff around, 5 good players. Like, these guys have the potential to really become a top team in Europe. So just get used to them being here. And I think we should just respect what they're doing, because the game's also very fun to watch.
Absolutely. They play a very entertaining style. And you know, Splyce, they're trying to keep up. They're trying to get back, as we said at the start of the game, to their, Worlds form. And I think a lot of speculation abounded last split about how strong teams generally were in Europe. And Splyce, they definitely weren't inflated as a team.
Right.
But it seems like the growth there just hasn't happened, as Mikyx going to get caught. Oh, wild growth. In comes the pain train, not going to land. Deadly Flourish, they're going to separate PowerOfEvil as he has to flash away. Whirling Death comes in to try and shred through some of the health bars. They pull Wunder in. The curtain call's there. KaKAO gets the kickback, and Sencux is not going to be taken down today. KaKAO tanking curtain call shots, but they are all out of bullets right now. Wunder still getting shredded through. It's just a poke battle back and forth.
Well, Wunder has hit the point now where he doesn't really die very, very quickly, and actually allowed Splyce to finally win a fight. Yes, they only got 1 kill. And that's sadly for them. Well, there's bot lane. They can actually get bot lane here as a massive
they got
wave.
A big wave.
Kobbe is down to 50%. He has to be careful. Alphari with a shock blast will get him very low. But Alphari also respecting it that he might actually get dove on the hit. That's why he steps away. He's not an idiot. He thinks, okay, there's a chance they might walk behind the tower and they're going to kill me. And that's why he plays it very, very safe.
So Splyce managed to find themselves a tower after surviving and winning a fight, or at least pushing everybody back. Let's see it one more time. Started with IgNar. But it ended with a lot of damage.
I think that's the first time we've seen a misused ulti by IgNar here, where the rest of Misfits weren't actually ready to fight it. KaKAO is joining now. Alphari is joining from base. kick is fine onto Sencux, but now you don't have any follow-up, and there's no Malzahar ulti to kind of pick that one target you want to kill, and that means Splyce can finally get to play with the tank in the front, the big carries in the back.
It's cool and collected. Splyce were able to do it.
This is still a close game, Pyro.
Oh, it absolutely is. For all we've talked about Misfits, it's only 4,000 gold. It's not a huge difference. The Dragons are comparable. There's an Infernal, by the way. And Baron is back up. Shockwave whiffs on that. Power's not going to have it for a bit.
Oh, this is big here for Splyce. Wunder's going in.
Oh, can't connect on IgNar. KaKAO is just riding all the way in to try and get to the tower to defend, but Hansamo is caught out, isolated by Trashy, sends the stand aside, and uses every summoner spell to get away. Splyce might take this for a moment to try and bait out Baron.
A lot of cooldowns now here on the side of Misfits. Splyce have almost everything ready except for Flash on Sencux, and then of course a few ultis here and there, but they can win without them. They're starting this Baron.
KaKAO is hovering around the side. He does land the Sonic Wave. Resonating Strike not going to go because Splyce have peeled off. Redemption coming in, but they have flash forward. They've caught Wunder out, even though with the Wild Growth, he's going to survive through it.
But he's
Splyce
low
trying
now.
to limp away. He's way too low. Their front line is evaporated. PowerOfEvil has nearly got his Shockwave back, and now Sencux dodging and diving away from the Sonic Wave. Baron has been thwarted.
Misfits knew they could still take the fight around Baron, but Splyce also knew that a lot of things were on cooldown. So maybe they were hoping to get the proper setup. There was no ulti from Wunder, sadly, to actually start the fight. So they were kind of caught at the Baron. And we got to see this Malzahar just saying, like, you know what, late game, I can just ulti the frontline tank. I don't care, I'm just going to ulti him. I get percent damage onto him. My team can then get him low and force him away, and Splyce can't really team fight without Wunder in the front because there's so much damage on the side of Misfits.
Absolutely, and there's a lot of CC too they have to be careful of. You see the QSS is there. Now Splyce, they're going to try to contest on this Dragon. Trashy's here. It could be a smite fight. Looks like that's the case, but KaKAO is isolated. They're going to be able to secure with the help of PowerOfEvil, but holy moly, IgNar just gets shredded.
One kill for Splyce here. They might go back to Baron and try the exact same play we saw before. See if they can force a team fight. PowerOfEvil's running from base with home guards. Missed that one from Alphari, can be very crucial.
Baron's being taken down pretty quickly here. They have the Mountain Drake available to them.
KaKAO's around the
really
corner.
need this one whirling death. KaKAO is coming around the backside. They just want to hold out.
It.
They have to know this is happening. It's going in low. It's going to get stolen away from KaKAO. And he gives his life, but Misfits are oh so happy. They're going to clean up on this one. Wunder is left for dead. It's just going to be Kobbe limping away. What a beautiful steal from KaKAO.
We've seen it before, Pirate. We've definitely seen this before here.
This is what I wanted to see when I saw KaKAO was joining the LCS. The guy has had a rough time playing in the LSPL. He did not look good, nowhere near that legendary jungler that we saw back in 2014. But on this Lee Sin today, he's looking good.
Listen, I'm buying into the KaKAO hype here, but I just don't want to see so many Baron steals in Europe. We see them so often because teams are kind of gambling it. This one was obviously just really well timed by KaKAO. But there was no wards on the side to spot him. There was no one stopping DPS from Splyce. No one was trying to like CC KaKAO before he jumped over the wall, whimsy him before he can jump in, like anything. Because Splyce had no wards behind the Baron to actually spot him. KaKAO had already used his sweeper to basically have this information, but now, like, you need to have something ready to stop KaKAO from jumping in and actually making this one of these Barons that can be stolen. However, that being said, Splyce have been behind. They've been losing a lot of fights. I can't blame them too much for saying, we're just going to gamble here. We finally have a way to stop Baron. Let's just take the gamble. If we win this smite and get the Baron, we can still win the game. If we lose, well, maybe we would have lost anyway.
Well, they did have the 5v4, but it really didn't matter in the end, and Misfits were able to knock down 3 inhibitors after all that. So at 37 minutes, I mean, the gold is just propelled out of control. It's maybe 13 to 10 in kills, but Misfits have all the map control they want. Splyce are going to have to try and play base defense for a little while, but as a 5-man unit, Misfits are moving forward.
Oh, Splyce, at the moment, have to start thinking about game 2 as well. Not that this game is necessarily completely over. We've seen some very close team fights, but it is getting harder and harder without any inhibs as well.
Here comes
One
the
Sion again.
Choo-choo, it's gonna land onto IgNar. He gets the smash, Trashy tags in, but a double shockwave is huge from Misfits as they turn it on. And the fight keeps on going. Wunder, undead, and now redead. Whirling Death is going to
Oh.
shut down Kobbe. I think that's game over.
Pyra, I agree 100% because they got a million super minions as well.
Yeah, nothing Splyce can do. It is only Mikyx to stand around and watch the Nexus fall. Misfits, it was a bit back and forth, but they knocked down the Nexus for game 1.
Very, very close early to mid game here. Teams were trading towers, they were trading kills.